Okay, I think we're recording. So I am super excited to have Nay here. She is an Ambassador Diamond. I remember when Lindsay had her Zoom with Nay, and it was actually right when I was going Diamond. And she asked us, like, who thinks they could be a mass enroller? And of course, like, all of us were so excited. We're like, yeah, we all could. And I remember that she was like, okay, how many of you feel like you're doing all the things, but you're still not mass enrolling every day? And I was like, that's me. And she was like, yeah, it's because you're not self-developing. And it was like the biggest smack in my face, but it was everything I needed, because ever since that day, I have believed in myself that I could enroll every single day. And that's why I wanted to bring you guys on, because Nay made me believe in myself whenever I 100% did not. So I literally love that Zoom, and I remember it. I'll remember it probably till the day I die. And I just want you guys to feel the same way that I did, is that you guys can be a mass enroller too. And sometimes that's just so good to hear from somebody else. But Nay, I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to have you just talk about your story first. Don't leave out any details. Literally, you're so amazing. So definitely share all of your success, and I'll let you go ahead and talk.
Hey guys, so thanks Haley for having me on tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nayara. I joined this business 5 years ago, and it's so crazy to even think like I'm still here 5 years later, and like just because when I joined this business, I wasn't like really serious about the business. And I feel like a lot of us joined for different reasons, but so backtracking. So when I joined 5 years ago, I was 19 years old. So, I was in college. I was at like the party stage, in my life. I feel like I still kind of am, right, Lens? But, but, I was just so young, like naive. Like I was just in a different part of my life than what I am at right now. So I was a broke college student. I was working 2 jobs. I was waitressing at night at a restaurant, and then I was a receptionist at a salon. Actually, me and Cassie worked together at this salon like years ago when we were, in college. And I remember just being so broke all the time, like literally so broke. Like I remember Cassie, she asked me to go out to eat when she lived here in Connecticut, and she was like, do you want to go out to eat? And I was like, yeah, sure, but I'm going to come and I can't eat. Like, I'm going to sit there and watch you. And sometimes she would pay for me and treat me, and sometimes I would eat before I would go out at my house. And then I would just go to like have fun, and like do some socializing. But it's just so crazy to think like where life was then and where it is now. So I joined this business 3 days after Cassie did. I remember she signed up. I knew nothing about It Works, like absolutely nothing. I signed up and I never looked back. I remember, I didn't even have the 99 to sign up. I remember sorry guys, my texts are gonna go off and it's just gonna be like this the whole time. But I remember telling Cass, I'm like, I don't even have the money to get started. And luckily my amazing mom let me borrow $99 to get started, and I joined this business as a broke college student working 2 jobs, and I was freaking busy because between school and between the jobs I had, I always was like on the go with something. Like life was just never like, I feel like I remember like never having time to breathe or to do anything because I was so busy. It was like school, and then on the days that I wasn't at school, I was working. So I didn't really have a lot of time on my hands truly when I joined this business. But I remember there was $1,000 Ruby bonus on the line. And this was my mindset. If I can get $1,000, I'm going to be freaking rich. Let me tell you, I had never seen that much money in my life. And to some people are like, oh, that's not even a lot of money. And to some people that they're like, that's like so much money, and to me at that time, and still is obviously, but I was like, I've never seen like that much money in my entire life. Like if I can get that, I'm set. That was my mindset truly. So I worked really hard for a full month, and I went Ruby in 30 days. I got that $1,000 bonus. And when I saw that commissions check, I was like, wow, like I can't believe this is going to be deposited into my account from a business that I just joined 30 days ago, and from a business that I just worked completely from my phone while slaving away at my receptionist job and waitressing at night and while going to school. I was like, and it clicked for me because I was like, okay, if I went Ruby in 30 days, I can definitely go emerald now and just build another. It's like all about building rubies. And that's when it clicked for me. I'm like, wow, I can build another ruby and go, well, 2 rubies and go emerald. And then I did. The second month I went emerald, and this is all still while going to school full time and working my jobs. And then my third month, there was a $10,000 bonus on the line, and you know, and I know we have to talk about our IDS. Okay, so includes IDS here, but I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I did. You know, I went diamond in 3 months, and a lot of people hear my story and they're like, oh, well, I've been in for a couple months and I haven't done what she's done. Guys, you can't compare, because my journey throughout, there had been years, months of me being at a certain rank at a certain time. We're gonna get there. So yes, I did promote really fast in the beginning, but I can definitely say since the day I signed up for this business, I have worked my business every single freaking day. Every day, no matter what. And, you know, and there have been times where I struggle. Actually, there haven't been times. I struggle every day with my business, you know, with my mental, like my mentality and what I think and what I go through. So diamond in 3 months. And then that's when it clicked for me. That's really when it changed everything with my mindset with this business, because I was like, if I can do this and make this much money, like I'm set for life. I don't have to do anything else. So I quit my 2 jobs, and I have been doing this full time since July of 2015. And I sat at Diamond for a couple months, and that is because I had tried to drag along people that weren't wanting to work with me. And ever since, and everyone that's on my team that comes up to me and is like, oh, my girl's not working, what do I do? I'm like, I usually just give a 3-strike rule and they're out. Just because I remember when I was going diamond, it took me so long to get to the next rank because I was hiking up a hill with a bag full of heavy rocks on my back because they were dead distributors. They were dead weight. And I kept trying to drag them along with me, and they didn't want this. I wanted it for them, you know, and they just didn't. And the second I figured out, okay, like I just need to leave these people behind, I promoted really fast. So 8 months later, I think, I went to my first conference. And if you've never been, you have to go next year. It is completely life-changing. When people tell you that conference will change your business, it really will, because it changed mine. And it kept changing it, because every year after that, I promoted after I left conference. So that month I went to conference. I went with like 3 girls on my team. You know, I was a diamond. I didn't have a super strong team, but I left conference that year with a fire lit. And I had 2 of my main legs there with me. And I went as a diamond, and I left conference and promoted to double diamond and earned the bonus that was being offered at that time. 30 days later, so that was February, I promoted to double. March, I went triple diamond and earned the bonus that was going on that month as well. So within 2 months, my business completely changed, completely. And then I sat at triple for about 11 months until I went to my next conference, which was the next year. And I went presidential, earned the presidential diamond bonus. And 3 years later, or 2.5 years later-ish, I went ambassador. And that was in 2018, which was 2 years ago, which is so crazy. So, and then after I went ambassador, I opened up my 2.0, and I've been working on that. But, you know, life is so different than what it was when I first joined this business. And it's so crazy because I get so emotional thinking about it and talking about it, because it's so crazy to think where my life is right now to where it was 5 years ago. And I used to watch people like you're watching me right now tell my story and think like I can never be where they are. And like when I was talking on stage and I gave my speech when I was inducted into the Millionaires Club, I got so emotional because during that speech, I said I would watch the top income earners walk across that stage. I would watch the people get inducted into the Millionaires Club, and I never believed that that would be me, ever, ever. I knew that I could be successful eventually. You know, I knew if I just kept doing all the things, eventually I would be successful, but I didn't think it would get to here where it is today. And literally, I'm no one special. I'm, you know, just a regular human being. And all I have done since day one is be consistent with my business every single day, no matter what. You know, and now 24 years old, I dropped out of school because it just wasn't my thing. It was something that I was never passionate about. It's so crazy because my sister and I are polar opposites. Like, I dropped out of school. She graduated UConn with like honors. Like, she's just incredible human being, and she's so smart, and that's her thing. But school just was never mine. You know, so I dropped out of school, and I had $47,000 in student loan debt without a diploma. I paid that off in 10 months, and I was on track to pay it off I was on a 10-year payment plan. And I don't even know if it would have been paid off in 10 years with all the interest that was put onto it every single month. There was one month I paid my student loan for that month, and I was doing the minimum payments just in the beginning. Well, not minimum, but like a little over it, just because I was like, oh, I don't want to pay it all off right now. Let's see. And the next month I went in, and it was higher than the month before. And I was like, wow, interest is insane. I just need to get rid of this. And I did. And thankfully, because of this business, I was able to do that. You know, I pay for my mom's mortgage every single month. My parents went through a divorce, and my dad always paid for everything. And then finally she's on her own, and she was freaking out, you know, and I was able to step in and say, listen, I can help you do that. And it's been 3 years. Every single month, I sent her money today on Venmo. Every single month I pay for her house, and she doesn't have to worry about a single thing, especially right now during this time where she's not working at all. And if it weren't because of this business, I don't know what my mom would be doing. Honestly, I truly don't know. It's so crazy. There's just so many things, you know, I bought a new car. I built my first dream home. I'm in my second one right now. My life's been a little crazy in the past 2 years, but you know, I moved to Florida. It wasn't my thing. I came back home, but I've just had so many opportunities to try new things because of this business. It would never be possible without it. And I truly just hope that you guys listen to my story and know that I'm no one special. And the only thing that I do every single day is be consistent. And we're going to talk about excuses, and I'm going to talk about certain things that when Haley asked me that question, that I've been through in this business that hasn't stopped me from being consistent every single day. And truly, that's exactly why I'm here where I am today, just because of the consistency and the hard work that I put behind the scenes that no one sees. Well, my friends do, but like I'm saying, people, you guys see highlight reel on Instagram, you know, the pretty pictures, all this and that, but it really behind the scenes, what happens with promotion months, just day-to-day things, like we all go through those same things. But it's just, are you going to choose to be consistent through the hard times, or are you just going to let the hard times get to you? So that's a little bit about my story. And I'm just so excited to be here with you guys tonight and just, you know, answer the questions Haley has for me, and really hope that, you know, one thing I say just clicks with you, because really that's all it takes for things to just change within your business.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Okay, does anybody else have chills like completely up and down their body? Because I do. Wow, that was so amazing, Nay. Honestly, she has accomplished so much, you guys. Like, honestly, like, Nay, I've looked up to you for so long, and I just remember, like, when you would say, like, consistency is key, like, that is just such a good reminder. Like, even on the days that you don't feel like it, guys, like, you push through because it's going to pay off, you know? That was what drove her every single day, and I just love how you help out your mom. Like, I absolutely love that. And I love that that's a driving force for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not all about you. And for me, like, I love that, you know? So I was just going to say that, guys, when she is speaking, literally listen to everything she has to say, because obviously she would not be where she is today if she didn't know what she was doing. So one of the first questions I have for you, and then you can get into like mass enrolling tips and stuff, is someone asked, what advice would you give for someone who's pushing for Diamond, who's like also working full-time, like also has a full-time job, but they're working for Diamond? I know with everything opening back up, like people are definitely getting into that whole like putting the business on the back burner. It's really not my main priority, but I'm still pushing, you know? So like time management, lack of enrollments because of that. What would you have to say about that?
Well, for me, when I joined this business, up until Diamond, I was working both of my jobs and going to school full time. I didn't drop out of school until 2 years into the business. So yes, I stopped working my jobs, but I was still in school full time. And if you go to school full time, you know that that is a job in itself, you know, just being in school, going to class, doing all your homework and all that stuff. But for me, I remember just, you know, I hate waking up early. I love to sleep. If I could, I would sleep in until 12 o'clock every single day. You know, I can, but I choose not to. But, you know, for me, I would wake up earlier. I would go to bed later. All my like lunch breaks, they weren't breaks really, where I can go in the back room and sit and chat and gossip with my coworkers. Like that was my time where I'd be, you know, my phone in one hand and eating with the other. Like I was using every single second of my breaks or like my free time to work my business. And I didn't see it as, wow, I'm just working my days away. I saw it as, if I can put in the effort with this business, I can have more time, you know, because I tell people all the time, like I worked literally every single second that I had that was a free time. They're like, oh, well, you know, don't you feel like you just never had time to do anything else? I was like, no, it wasn't because of my It Works business. I didn't have time to do anything. It was because of my jobs, because they owned my life. And I knew that if I worked hard with my It Works business, every single second that I had of free time, I can do that full time and have time to do whatever the hell I want to do. You know, like I can wake up tomorrow and go to the beach if I want to. Could I have done that tomorrow if I had my waitressing job and my receptionist job? No, like that would own my time. And I knew that if I can put in the extra work with my business, I can have so much more free time. And that's what I did. So I never saw it as an inconvenience of like, oh, like I'm going to take my 30-minute break, my lunch break at work and just relax. No, like I used that 30 minutes to really dive into my business. Like I literally was like, my coworkers were like, are all chatting and talking and trying to talk to me. And I'm like on my phone and eating and like just working my business. Bathroom breaks. I would sit down, go to the bathroom, answer some messages, you know, reply to who I had to. I would pre-make my stories in my, well, stories wasn't a thing back then, but I would pre-make my post the night before I went into work, just so I could have my picture, my caption ready for the next day. So I can just go into my camera roll, post it and get it done. You know, now we have stories, which is so great. You can do that multiple times a day. Every day, it takes literally less than 30 seconds for you to just click, 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 post. You know, and you don't need to make new stories every single day. I don't even have over, but if you do and you're creative and you like that, great. You know, make your stories, but you don't even need to complicate things and make them every day. You reuse things. I reuse my stories all the time and I still enroll, you know. Just use every second you can of free time to work your business. And if you're putting it on the back burner, it's not important to you. Truly, it's not. And if you don't like that truth, well, then it's because you're not making this a priority. For me, I always, every time like I think, I have huge dreams and huge goals still. You know, people are like, oh, how do you still keep going after all that you've had? You know, I'm not done. I'm not done. Like my team's not done. So I'm going to keep going until I'm not living anymore, you know? So for me, if you feel like one day you don't feel like doing something, because you know what? Today I felt like that. Okay. I was like outside on my deck and it was so nice out and I'm laying and I was like, oh, it would be so nice to take a nap here. I didn't feel like working my business. And you know what I did? I went and I picked up my computer. I sat up on my chair because I was laying down. I'm like, first of all, I shouldn't even be laying down because then I'm going to want to nap. I got my computer, I turned off my iMessage, and I followed up with 350 people when I didn't feel like working. And I could have napped, but I decided not to do that because every time I have a thought like that or I feel like not doing something, I think about my life now and I think about my life where it was when I first started this business. And I never want to go back to being where I was. Not that it was awful or that I was homeless or anything like that. You know, my parents always took care of me until the second I left their house and lived on my own. But I never want to go back to being where I was when I first joined this business. So though, just thinking that pushes me to get up from that, me laying down and wanting to nap, and pushes me to go and work my business and follow up and go be consistent and go show up for my team. You know, so you need to figure out why you're here. Really, figure out why you're here. And if you've been here for a couple months, figure out where you want to go next. If you're new, why did you join this business? Why are you here? What do you want out of this? And remember that every single day that you want to put it on the back burner. And that's what's going to keep you going. Really, because that's what keeps me going. I think about where I was 5 years ago, where I am now. Do I like my life now or then? Definitely now. So that pushes me every single day when I don't feel like doing something to do it.
Okay, I love that so much. I felt the same way when I was in grad school working 2 part-time jobs, guys. Like, it wasn't just like, you have to have this glamorous life or I'll be happy when. Like, make yourself happy now. And I love how you just constantly reminded yourself of the freedom that you wanted. I love that so much, because I was the same way, where I didn't want to work my other 2 jobs while going to school full-time. Like, that I hated them. I was literally miserable. Like, people made fun of me out those jobs. Like, I didn't want to show up, but I knew I had to because I had loans, I had bills, right? But I thought big picture. I want to work just It Works and go to school, which ended up leaving school. But you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have to be, guys, that, you know, like, maybe you really like your job, right? Maybe you really, really love your job. That's great. But what is It Works going to provide more for you? More time with your family. I would skip out on holidays because I couldn't get off work. You know, I'd miss birthdays and celebrations and anniversaries, like all these things, or like family gatherings, like all of it. I would miss it all just because I didn't have the time, right? Because I knew I had money was more important than time at that point in my life. I was like, well, I need money rather than going to my grandma's 80th birthday and flying home. I don't really have the money to do that, and no one's going to pay for that. So I'm going to stay here and work. So just having those priorities, I knew I didn't want to miss anything anymore. So maybe that's you guys. You know, so many of you guys have told me, like, I have kids and I want more time with my kids. But it's like, maybe when you look at it, maybe that's not enough. Maybe you also just don't want to work at your job, and that's okay if your kids aren't the only reason why. You know what I mean? I feel like some people think that the reason they joined has to be that reason the whole time. And that's not true, because when I started, my reason was, hold on, wait 1 second. I have to mute somebody. Hold on. Oh, wait, maybe they're gone. Okay. I don't know what's happening. Oh, I got it. Okay. But my reason was loans. I was like, I really want to pay off these student loans, but that wasn't even enough for me. It turned into freedom of time, and it turned into working at Works full time. Like, your whys are going to change, and that's okay. Don't feel like super selfish if the reason that you do It Works is to get your nails done and to have nice things and to do fun stuff. That's okay. Let that motivate you then. Whatever motivates you, whatever pushes you to get out of bed or makes you do 350 follow-ups instead of taking a nap, like whatever pushes you, you know what I'm saying? Let it push you. So I really love all of that, Nay. Thank you so much for saying that. So now I want to get into mass enrolling. Because you are a freaking beast. Literally so much. Every time I look at your story, you like got, you know, Stephanie and 7 other people started. So tell us like all your mass enrolling tips. Like, do you do post to post? Do you do cold messaging? Like, what do you do as far as like mass enrolling customers every day? Like, what do you make sure like that you do, like your non-negotiables?
Okay, so for me, you know, I have my non-negotiables every single day that I do with my business. I post on my story. You know, on your feed, it's a little different now. Like when I first joined, I would post like multiple times a day on my feed on Instagram. You know, now it's different. You know, I make sure to post at least twice a week. You know, if you like to post more, do that. You know, don't change what you're doing if it's working for you. That's huge. So like, any tips you hear from me tonight, if you have something that's working for you, do not change it because I'm telling you what I do is different, okay? I post on my feed. I follow up every single day. Like that, if like my team knows, like every single day is follow up for me. I have a planner. It's called the Day Designer Planner. Let me write it in here. And it's a planner that it has one, like a page is a full day. And I love that because so many planners are so small and divided into small sections. And the Day Designer Planner, I can write down so many numbers like on that full page. So I post in my story, I post in my feed, I follow up every single day. I message and I follow people. You know, those are the things that I do every single day, every day, no matter what. And I don't have specific times for those things other than follow, like messaging. I mean, I have times where I message, but everything else gets done. Like for me, my team's like, oh, when do you follow up? Like, I honestly don't. I honestly am the worst. I'm never on time for anything. Times don't work for me. It just, my family hates me for that. Really, they truly do. So for me, times don't work. So for me, I follow up when I get a second to. Like today, I didn't follow up until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but I still got it done. It doesn't really matter when you do it. You just have to do it. Some days I wake up and the first thing I do after I do my self-development is follow up. You know, and then some days it's at night time. So it really doesn't matter when you do it. You just have to make sure to do it every single day. And my mass enrolling tips is I still message I cold message every day to be a product tester. I have always done that and I will always do it because I love it and I still see really good results from it. But, you know, and I've recently shifted my business into host post. And I know you guys are definitely a host to post team, but if I'm being honest, I wasn't, because I really do hate change. Like the presets, like when those came out, I was so late to them. You know, I still don't even use Over because I just hate like learning these new apps. And like, it's so funny because I'm so late to everything that everyone's already been doing for months now. But host to post, like for me, it was so hard to like learn it and like not learn it because it's so simple, but learn a system in a way that worked for me. Because I just didn't really know like how to really like do it and like keep things organized and like reply to things and just, I don't know. I like to find like systems that work for me. And then I'm like, okay, I got this. So I really dove into host to post when I lost my Instagram in January. I lost my Instagram and I'm like, crap, I have Facebook. And I feel like this is just a sign from God that I really should just be using Facebook too, because I just had been neglecting Facebook. Like I'd hop on Zooms with other teams, literally other teams, and they'd be like, are you 100% on Instagram or 50-50 Facebook, Instagram? I'm like, I'm 100% Instagram. And it's so silly because we have this other network that we could use. And I had just been neglecting it because I was just, you know, Instagram has always been my jam, but why not make Facebook it too, you know? And in January, I had to do that. I lost my Instagram and I had no other way really to work my business, like other than just following up all day long. But I dove into host post there. And I worked at host post for months and months and months, and I still freaking hated it. I just didn't know what to do to make it work for me. I really didn't until I hopped on a Zoom, I think like 2 months ago, and with another team, and they were talking about host post and what they did. And they were explaining that, you know, they have their people post about the giveaway for them. And I'm like, that's genius, because, you know, if I post about the giveaway on my page and then I get like 12 comments, let's say, for example, and I message those 12 comments to post about products or the business for me, that's only 12 people. That's not a lot. And that's why I probably wasn't being successful at host to post, because out of those 12 people, maybe 8 will actually post for me, maybe, you know, maybe even less than that. But then I heard this girl talk about have those 12 people off the bat post for you about the giveaway on their feed. Just a simple post. I'm partnering up with my friend Nyara, and she's giving away $1,000 or a Louis Vuitton purse this month, winner's choice. And I'm like, that's genius, because then Susan, who comments my post, posts about the giveaway, and then Susan gets 50 people commenting because 50 people are like $1,000, Louis, I'm in. Then I message those 50 people and I have them I go back and forth. I do it in threes. I do 3 people post about Thermofite X, 3 people post about the business. And then I started, and this Zoom was probably actually 3 months ago, and I still didn't get host to post down. I just still wasn't like seeing the results I wanted to see with it, but I kept doing it. I kept being consistent. I kept doing it every day because I preach consistency with my team. So how dare I not be consistent myself with doing something? And it's the same thing with messaging. Like messaging, I can message all day long and some people don't answer me, but I still do it every day, right? So I just kept doing it until really, like, if I could be honest, like a month ago, it really took off host to post for me. And I really I don't know, maybe I just found something that worked for me. And I just was like, okay, this is good. It's crazy because I saw this girl's host to post on someone else's feed. And it was about TFX. It was with a background color, just the TFX post, if you could take one tablet, the one that we always post, it was a background color. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to reword this a little bit, but I'm going to post mine with a background color. Who knew that could change things? I don't know. Maybe it just was my mindset, but I had my potentials post that for me with a background color. And then my girl, Kelly, freaking genius. I was like, what are you doing to get so many DTs? This was like last month. And she's like, I'm having them post about the business for me with a background color. And then I'm putting my influencer app in the comments. And I'm like, oh my God, you're a genius. I'm going to do that too. So then I started doing that. And really, it has taken off for me, host post. But let me tell you, it's still, some days I get no comments. Some days no one posts, or some days people post and still no comments. But I'm still doing it every single day, And it really has taken off for me. And really, my enrollments, I can now say, especially the ones you were swiping up to, Haley, on my Instagram, my enrollments now truly do come 50% from Facebook and 50% from host to post. Facebook and Instagram. Actually, we could split it up even a little more because some of them come from my follow-ups too. So really, it's changed everything now in my business, that I've added this on to my business. I'm not taking away anything what I was doing from Instagram. I'm still doing the same thing, but I'm adding on to what I was doing before. And if I could add on my workload and make more and get more results out of it, I'm all for it. Tell me what to do. I'm just that type of person. I don't care if I have to put in more work. If I can make more money and get more results, I'm doing it. And that's what I've been doing with Facebook post to post. And it's just been working so good. But really, still my enrollments come from cold messaging. I just enrolled a DT, and it was from me cold messaging her a product tester thing. And then she filled out my application in the bio, and then she signed up as a distributor, even though I messaged her about the product. So Instagram still works for me, but I've added on host to post, and really that's how I've been mass enrolling, and I'm finally back to, I was going through a weird stage of, I've always mass enrolled, but I know that I'm capable of doing so much more. And I'm finally back at my stage where I feel really good about my enrollment. And it's just because I got into doing host to post and added that onto my plate. And it's just been working so good for me with how I've been incorporating it, which is nothing special, which is things that people have already been doing it. But I don't know, it's been working for me.
I love that so much, because there are so many times where I preach to my team that host to post didn't take off for me, but they see how well it works and they're like, but like it works really well now. I'm like, right, but you didn't see the struggle from like November 2018 when, I saw, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, D Brooks was like, this is how many host to posts I got and this is how many customers. And I was like, God, that's a lot of work. Like, I don't know if that's for me. And because I went in with that mindset, host to post, it took me a while to take it off because I knew it was a lot of work. And right. I didn't know if I was prepared for that. So I feel like for a lot of you, that's holding you back.
That too, being prepared for it. I'm like, crap, like that seems like a lot of work for something that's not even working. I'm like, right. I'm cool doing the work, but it has to work though.
And you weren't seeing, and for me, like, it's like, sometimes you don't see instantaneous results. You know what I mean? Like with messaging, I feel like even with me, like when I first started the business, I was like, okay, cold messaging, you know what I mean? Like Lynn's always was like, cold message, cold message. I was like, okay. So I knew I was going to get results with cold messaging because she said she got results with it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I believed in myself. But when I started Host to Post, I did not believe in myself. I did not believe that it was going to work. I was so skeptical. And that's why it took so long for me to take off. But once it does, guys, once it takes off, and your business is exploding. And a lot of you probably just cringed with me saying that your business will explode. Your phone will be going off 24/7. I know, because I went through this phase where my phone did not stop ding, 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 ding. And I was like, I don't want it anymore. And at that point, I stopped getting enrollments because I was just so overwhelmed. Literally put up a few giveaway posts, let them blow up, and then come back to them. You know what I mean? Like, let it happen. But I love what you said about getting those results of giveaway, because I just taught my team, because I was noticing that everyone was like, oh, Host Post isn't really working for me. So I had them do giveaway last month, and things just blew up for us, I feel like. So I love that you said that too, because guys, giveaway is the great way to get other people to post for you. And then, like you said, you're having Thermal Fight X, and we just started the influencer application in the distributor. Oh my God, like that is awesome. I love that, because it's just like applying for like another job. You know what I mean? Like, and I love how it's just like 5 simple questions. And if you guys haven't made influencer applications, you guys can see like how to do that on our page. But literally total game changer for distributors, because when I was doing distributor Host to Post, it wasn't working. Like, just messaging people, like, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way I was doing it. So I feel like when you guys do Host to Post, and if you guys don't like the way that you do it, change something. Don't keep doing it and being like, oh, I really don't like this. I don't like how I'm messaging these people. This sucks. Like, don't keep going like that, because your mindset is everything. So going off of that, I want to ask you, do you think it's possible to mass enroll customers and distributors? Because obviously you're a mass enrolling machine with customers, right? So what about distributors?
Yeah, honestly, I remember Sasha coming to me like 2 years ago and saying I'm not going to mention the leader, but she listened to this leader say how it was like, I think it was like, oh, like, you can't do both, and I'm like, and she comes to me, she's like, can I do both? Like, she's just so funny with her question. She's like, do you think I can be a master enroller in both? I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, why not? Like, it cringes me inside when people are like, oh, I'm focusing on customers. I'm like, but what do you mean focusing on customer? Why aren't you doing both? Like, you don't need to put your focus into one thing and leave the other thing aside. Like, you really don't, because you can be a mass enroller in both. You really can. I enroll both customers and distributors every single month. Some months, obviously, maybe my customers are higher than my distributors. And some months, actually, I don't think some months my distributors have been higher than customers, but I wish maybe someday I'll get there. But, you can do both. Like, you can do both. Trust me. And you don't need to take one focus off of one of them and put it into one only. You can post about customers. You can host a post about customers. You can post about distributors. You can host a post about distributors. Why are you just putting your focus into one thing and not the other? Like, to me, it just makes no sense, because we post about both. We host a post about both. So why are you just trying to put in your mind that you're going to focus on one thing and not the other? Like, you can enroll both. You really can. And if you feel like you're not enrolling both, it's because you're telling yourself you can't be a mass enroller. I remember when I was going triple, right after I went double, and I had to build a brand new diamond in 30 days to go triple. And I remember telling myself, like, I'm not a DT mass enroller. And at that point, I really hadn't been. But it wasn't because I wasn't capable of doing it. It was because I was telling myself that I wasn't capable of doing that. And I remember that month, I really wanted that promotion. I really wanted to go triple. And I changed my mindset. I'm not even kidding you. Every single day I woke up telling myself that I was a mass DT enroller. Even if I didn't really truly believe in it, I had to make myself believe in it. And that month, I'll never forget it. That month I had signed 16 DTs. And I think my max was like 3 or 5 every single month. And that month I signed 16 because I woke up every single day, I'm not even kidding you, consistently telling myself that I was a mass DT enroller. And I wrote it down. And throughout my day, I would be sitting down at my desk working, and I'd say it randomly, you know, and I just really tried to truly believe that I was. And ever since then, I really have been a mass enroller in both. You know, obviously my customers are way higher, but I really truly enroll both. Like there's never one month that I don't, like, obviously customers, I enroll that every day. But like DTs, there's never a month that I don't enroll any. Like, absolutely not. Like, I enroll both, but because I don't take my focus off one and put it somewhere else. I focus on both. I post all day long about the customer and customers and products. I post all day long about the business and the opportunity that it's given me. You know, I posted today on my story, the coffee, the deal of the 2 for $49. Then I went in and I did a DT post. And then an hour before I got on this, I posted on my feed about the business. You know, and for me, on my feed, it's all life posts, all of it. I used to post a lot about the products on my feed, but now since we have stories, I blow up my stories with product posts, you know, and DT posts, obviously. But on my feed is only DT posts. So really how I get my distributors is from my posts, is from the influencer application, and from host to post, filling out. So influencer application, same thing, because they always do that when I host posts, and my stories. Really, like the girl who just joined me right before I got on this Zoom, I cold messaged her and she answered back, yeah, I'm interested in the products, but I also creeped your page and I filled out your application. I'm really interested in the opportunity. Can you give me info? And I did. And that was just she creeped my page after I cold messaged her. And the reason why she joined, really, because I post on my story and I post on my feed and she had something to look at. So if you feel like you're lacking one thing or the other, change your mindset. You can do both. You can. You really can. And for me, when I feel like I'm not getting results in something, I really try to trace back what I'm not doing. Like, why am I not enrolling as much as I want to? Like, what am I missing? And there's always something missing. I always could be doing more of something, or maybe that day I haven't done my non-negotiables, one of them yet. You know, there's always something that I try to like figure out what I'm not doing, like why I'm not producing the way I want to. And there's always a reason behind it. So change the mindset of you can't be a mass enroller in both, because you really can. And piggybacking to Sasha, after I talked to her about that, she really never once ever said anything to me like, again, that she can't mass enroll in both, because you really truly can. And once you change your mindset and really believe in yourself, and if you don't, like I didn't, even though I kept telling myself every single day when I was going triple that I was a DT mass enroller, even if you don't believe in yourself, just keep saying it, because you're going to end up making yourself believe that you are, and you're going to feel confident enough, especially when you start to enroll. It's just going to really boost your confidence for sure.
Okay, I just have to say, y'all, she's been preaching the same thing since she started. Literally, mindset and consistency, okay? And I love that you said there wasn't a day when you didn't work your business, because I used to think that was a bad thing. Linz can vouch for me on this. I was like, it's bad that I don't take days off like other girls. But then I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I'm not like everybody else. You know what I mean? There's not a day where you don't see me post on my stories. There's not a day where you don't see me put up a post on Facebook. And I love that you said that too, because you see the girls who are successful, who are mass enrollers, they're the ones that are constantly producing results, guys. Like you said, you were like, I assess like where I'm lacking, and sometimes it's consistency. And then other times you're like, but I'm really consistent. What's going on? It's got to be your mindset. It's literally usually one or the other. It's never like what you're doing is like bad. You know what I mean? Like I used to think like, oh, maybe it's my host to post, or maybe it's my cold message. And I'd start looking left and right being like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But that ended up just throwing me even more off course. And all I really need to do was journal some more, or read a book, or tell myself that I'm a mass enroller in the mirror, you know? So I love that you said that. And I love that, you know, you decide to change your mindset, and then boom, everything takes off. So really, I just wanted you to talk just a little bit before we end here is like self-development. Like How has that changed your business? Because I know that is so important to you. I know that's something that you make time for every single day, is to have a good mindset. You know, even if we are having a crappy day, you still try to turn it around. So I wanted you to talk about that. Maybe if you have like a favorite book or devotionals, just little things that you do to like keep yourself in a good mindset, even if you are having a bad day.
Right. And this is something I struggled with in the beginning. Is my mindset for sure. Like I was really negative. Like I would be that girl that'd be like, before my friends and I would go out, we'd go to a certain place and I'd be like, oh, that's going to suck. Like I hate that place. Like it's so boring. Like I just speak those things without even like knowing how negative I sounded. And then I joined this business and everyone's like, change the way you speak, positivity. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I remember like complaining to Cass in the beginning. I was like, oh, I have no one to message anymore. Like I ran out of my followers, because I had like only 300 followers. And I was like just always complaining. And she just always kept saying, change what you're saying, change your mindset, listen to self-development, listen to this, listen to that. And I'm like, oh, it sounds so boring. And then she'd be like, look in the mirror and say these things out loud to yourself. And I'm like, oh, you're crazy. Like that doesn't really work. Like literally. And like, a couple months later, I would tell her those things. And she's like, I can't believe you told me you would watch those things and never did. And I really didn't, because I was like, this is so boring. Like, I don't want to do these things. And then I had to finally make a change in my business. That's me analyzing again, going back and analyzing like what was missing. And I'm like, okay, like these people keep preaching about self-development, about doing these things. And like, I'm not doing it and my business isn't going further. Like, I think I really just need to change this and change my mindset and really do self-development. And that's another thing too, that I relate back to host post. I really struggled with finding what clicked with me because, some books I felt like I was in school. Like I felt like I was listening to self-development and I was like in school. I'm like, oh, this is a drag. Like it just wasn't clicking with me, and then other leaders would preach about these books and I would listen to them and it just wasn't clicking with me, until about 2 years ago. I've always been religious, but I really had to go back to like knowing that self-development really doesn't have to be a certain thing, like a certain book or like a type of genre, that book that you're reading has to be self-development, and for me, really, my self-development really has been just my devotionals and praying. For me, it's really, and I love also, I'm going to also get into a couple other things that I do, but really 2 years ago, I really like thought, you know what, like reading my devotionals in the morning, and I post them almost every single morning, and they're almost like really good self-development stuff too. Like they really like talk about like wanting stuff and having faith and believing and trusting the process. I have 2 books that I read every single morning and praying, and really truly asking God for the things that I want, and I always have, and I always have done that and grew up, doing those things. But like, I felt like, that wasn't a self-development, and really, it really is, and that's what I do every single morning. And obviously, when I'm just really stressed or anxious, like I just pray and ask for peace and ask for just God to guide me in the steps that he wants me to go in. And then I listen to audiobooks. That really helped me too, because I almost felt like, okay, like, do I have to be reading a book? Like, and I hate reading. And like I said, I related it back to school, and I was like, I don't want to feel like my business feels like school, because I hated it, So I love listening to audiobooks, and I also love listening to a couple of my favorite leaders on YouTube, like just literally tell their story. And like, I literally will search up some people's stories that even though I've listened to in the past before, I listen to it again, just because listening to people's stories always gets me excited. So don't feel like self-development has to be you reading a book or an audiobook or listening to people's stories or a devotional. Like, find what clicks with you and what matches you and what makes you feel good, and do that, And for me too, I also felt pressured, when everyone got into journaling, that I had to do it. And then I was like lost. How do I journal? Like, what do I journal about? I bought Denise Walsh's journaling book, and that really helped me like get into journaling, but without the pressure of like, a blank page. What do I write about? You know, because that's how I felt in the beginning when journaling became a thing in our business, in our industry. You know, I was like, what do I write about? Like, how do I go about this? I felt overwhelmed with how to do it. So I ordered her journal book, and it's so awesome because it literally tells you day by day, like, what to write about. Like, she tells you, you know, write 3 things that you're thankful for, you know. And I was like, okay, love this. I love things that can just guide me along the way. And that's another thing I do too, is literally journal. Like, when I'm feeling stressed or anxious or upset with my business, or, you know, some months I've seen checks that I wasn't happy about, you know, and like we all do, right? I literally remember, you know, a couple months ago, I saw a check that I really wasn't happy about. I truly wasn't. But then I whipped out my journal and I literally sat there. Even though it sounds so bad, I was ungrateful, but I sat there in a grateful state of mind and wrote things that I was grateful for and thanked God for that every single day, because I'm like, I got to change this mindset. I'm sitting here looking at this check ungrateful, but people are not even making money right now during this time, you know? So then I changed my mindset and I wrote down in my journal the things that I'm grateful for and what I'm going for and where my check is going to be next month, you know, and what I wanted, you know. So that really helps me too. So for me, I really just dive into my devotionals, praying to God and truly writing things down. How now I don't need Denise's journal anymore. Now I really know how to journal and talk about my feelings and talk about what I want. And when I'm upset, I write about it. I really do. I sit there and write about what I'm upset about, and I journal about it. And then I journal about what I want and where I'm going and what I'm going to do, you know, in the next couple of days to change the mindset that I'm in right now and that where I don't want to be, you know, where I'm going, you know. And journaling, it's basically a diary, and you're talking to yourself about where you are. And it's so crazy because when I started journaling 2 years ago, you know, my business was at a point where I wasn't happy with it. I remember 2 years ago. And then I remember this was at the end of 2018. So it was like November, December. I actually had gone to my first top 20 retreat in Florida, which was 2 years ago. And I was not happy with my business at that point. I was like, oh, like I'm feeling like it's just not where I want to be right now. And it's so crazy because I was writing in my journal at that point in my business where I was unhappy, but I was talking about where I was going. And it's so crazy to look back at that journal because 2 months later, my business was at its all-time high, which was last year in the beginning of the year, where we had a crazy year before things kind of, you know, dipped a little bit. But it's so crazy to look back and see like where you were, but it's okay because where you're going to go is so much better, you know, in that journal entry. And it's so crazy to see those things. So, you know, I really dive into my journal entries and my devotionals. But then when I'm just sitting here working, I really like to listen to audiobooks. And I'm sure these are all books that you guys have, but I really like this book that's called Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. It's so good. Like it's religious and it relates, you know, to religious things, but it's so easy to understand. It's literally flat out like, I like books like what you're thinking now will bring you to this place where you don't want to be. You know, I like books that are just easy to understand and easy to comprehend and just click, especially when I'm working. I like to just be able to retain that info even though I'm doing something else, you know. I like You Are a Badass, all those books, incredible. You know, I like the Get Over Your Damn Self, Girl Wash Your Face was kind of hard to get into in the beginning, but really got into it like mid-book, end of it. I love the 5-second rule because it really just teaches us like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, snap out of that, change that mindset because you can't be in that state for a long time because that's when it's going to consume you. And I love Secrets of the Millionaire Mind because, you know, I grew up, you know, we were just a medium class family, like, you know, but my parents always, money don't grow on trees, like things like little comments like that. But like, and you need to change that mindset because when you grow up like that, you start to act and say those things and think those things, you know. And my parents always did an amazing job raising my sister and I, but I also, you know, not that they struggled in any way, but I wanted more. I always have wanted more, you know, and I know that if I thought the way they did, I wouldn't have the things I want, you know, and that book really teaches you, you know, to get out of that mindset when you grow up with people saying certain things. Like you can't think those things and take that along with you in your journey in success, because you're just not going to get past certain things and certain incomes if you just keep thinking that way. So those are a couple books that I listen to, but for me, my self-development really is my devotionals, praying throughout the day, you know, putting my phone down for five minutes and really just like taking a breather, taking my dogs out, just praying, just talking out loud to myself, literally just telling myself what I want. And it's okay to tell yourself what you're unhappy with. It really is. Sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, like I complained for 2 minutes and I'm like, oh, I hate how I'm not enrolling, and I hate how I'm just not getting the results I want to. But then I change my mindset after I have a pity party for myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go message more. I'm just going to go follow up more. I'm just going to go host a post more. And it's okay to complain to yourself for a couple minutes. But if you put the action behind that always and go after working harder and doing more always and getting out of that complaint state, because I feel like almost if we don't talk about it with ourselves, I'd rather just complain to myself than go bring anyone else down. So avoid dragging anyone else down with you. But I like to complain to myself sometimes because I just like to get it off my chest and just get it out. And then, you know what? I'm like, I need to snap out of this. I'm going to go enroll. I gotta go message more, or follow up more, do more, you know? And that's kind of just what I do for self-development. And you just have to find what works for you so you can find it enjoyable, because it won't be enjoyable and it won't be your thing if you don't find what like makes you excited to do it every single day.
I just had like 10 different moments where I was like, yes, yes, yes. I literally just love that so much. That was so good. I've actually never heard of the book of the Get Out of Your Head by Jenny Allen. I've never heard of that. So I'm definitely going to get that one. Thank you so much for sharing that. And guys, can we please thank Nay for being on here? I feel like I have so many notes that I was just writing down right over here. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, guys, it doesn't matter if you've been in the business like a day or you've been in it for 5 years. Like, you guys can change it tonight. You can change it tomorrow. It's literally a decision. I love how the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I use that all the time. I use that when I messaged you. I was like, okay, I don't know if I want Nay to do this. And then I literally counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I messaged you, and I did it. And here she is pouring into every single one of you. So I am so, so happy that you could do this. I'm going to stop the recording here.